She call me a hubby, she love me, but she in California. Wanna be the talk of the town, but move to California. Duck off just a fucker so nobody knows in California. Bottom feeding women, it's so plenty, they need marijuana. It's so good head, and you tell them turn their phone off. Tell them get so loose, then we catch them with their shirt off. Girl, take that skirt off. Now put on your work clothes and baby, put that guard down. We gon' piss the neighbors off, then I gotta go, girl, and catch you at your dead job. Keep it all discreet, then I meet you in the nighttime. You smell like the summertime, find out in a glass of wine. You know that I speak in code, they don't have to ever know. Keep it on the hush, hush, keep it on the DL. You slide down the pole and I'm sliding down your TL. They don't know no details, do your file like detail. I'ma blow your back out and your boyfriend get no details.
I haven't seen you since the summertime. True, I used to think about you all the time. Back when I was still trying to make you mine.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall and is for the WWE Television Championship.
Ladies and gentlemen of the universe, welcome to part 2 of our Summerslam pay-per-view. We are here ready for some Smackdown live action as the television championship will be defended when the Psycho Killer Tommaso Ciampa defends his championship against the Woken Warrior Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy looking primed and ready for this contest here tonight. As we have seen in previous weeks, the attacks after the match from Tommaso Ciampa and during their in-ring promo, that Tommaso Ciampa is going to spend no expense at the aggression here in this match against Matt Hardy, looking to retain his championship over the #1 contender here. Tommaso Ciampa having held that championship the second longest out of anybody here in Universe Mode, recently surpassing Braun Strowman's record and catching up to Matt Riddle's. If he could defend here tonight, then he will have to meet a new contender, potentially Keith Lee, who we saw earn a huge victory over Jeff Cobb in the opener to our pay-per-view at Unforgiven in 2 weeks' time. We are already coming back for pay-per-view 2 weeks from now, as now Matt Hardy and Tommaso Ciampa going to get ready for championship action, and the bell has rung. Here we go. The two competitors now getting ready for this action as Matt Hardy going to twist around and drop Tommaso Ciampa with a Russian leg sweep. coming from behind, as now Ciampa going to work his way back up to his feet here before Matt Hardy can do anything else. The strikes of Tommaso Ciampa. Now going over into the corner with that running knee, utilizing the knee brace, and now pulling him out with a huge lariat, taking him down with a clothesline from the corner, and now dropping that knee multiple times into the shoulder of Hardy. Tommaso Ciampa utilizing that knee brace to his advantage here for his offense, and now a crashing knee strike into the face of Matt Hardy. Ciampa utilizing that knee brace in the last 4 or 5 moves that he has hit on Hardy here in this match, and now kicking Hardy, suspending him over the ropes, as now sending Matt Hardy to the outside is Tommaso Ciampa, and Ciampa going to follow him out here now, looking for something on the outside as he kicks Matt Hardy in the gut, and he's going to look to lift him up in a powerbomb here, and he's looking towards the apron. He drops Matt Hardy back first across the apron. My God, Tommaso Ciampa absolutely insane here tonight. Who even thinks of a maneuver like that? That will just deteriorate the well-being of your opponent. But that's exactly what both these men are going to have to do if Ciampa wants to retain his championship, as now Matt Hardy, the challenger, fighting out of that fireman's carry, sending Ciampa back inside the ring. That's probably to his benefit, as Tommaso Ciampa has the ruthless aggression on the outside. Now a crashing big boot sends Matt Hardy back into the corner. Matt Hardy having to use those ropes in the turnbuckle to pull himself back up after that. And now Ciampa running in with yet another knee, this time not utilizing that knee brace, instead using the healthy one, as he slips behind with the backbreaker and then into the neck breaker, slipping with those 2 quick moves. Now Tommaso Ciampa fired up here as the champion, looking to retain his championship here tonight over a game Matt Hardy. But Tommaso Ciampa able to evade, now a running STO on Matt Hardy, able to evade the mind games of Matt Hardy in previous weeks and show that he is a completely built together champion. Now looking for a strike here on Matt Hardy, and Matt Hardy fighting out of it with a forearm smash, now sending Matt Hardy over with an arm drag and a combination of slaps, as Matt Hardy countering with a jab here. Gonna look to send Tommaso Ciampa in a snapmare, but being reversed, as now Tommaso Ciampa with a huge European uppercut, sending Matt Hardy back and being sent over the ropes for his effort, as Matt Hardy inside the ring channeling the Woken Warriors in the crowd here. But Tommaso Ciampa going to look to lift him with a suplex all the way to the outside off of the apron, crashing Matt Hardy from the canvas all the way to the outside on that padded matting on the floor. You gotta think that's quite a bit of a drop, and now a lariat taking down Matt Hardy the second that he got up from that huge suplex to the outside. And now a roaring forearm is countered by Matt Hardy, caught before he could do it, and now looking for a twist of fate, but it's reversed into a facebuster from Tommaso Ciampa, driving the knee into the face of Matt Hardy yet again. Now Ciampa gonna send Matt Hardy into the barricade and rebound him off of the barricade, hitting his face into it. Now a back elbow to the face of Matt Hardy, looking to reach behind for that back, and then the neck breaker yet again. Now I believe that back elbow that Tommaso Ciampa just hit has lacerated Matt Hardy in this matchup, and we knew this match was going to be brutal. Ciampa utilizing that knee brace, able to bust open the face of Matt Hardy early on in this matchup, as now Ciampa calling for the springboard knee from the top rope. That would have been devastating if he connected with that, but Matt Hardy able to sidestep out of it. Now looking for an around the world DDT, is countered by an arm drag from Ciampa, as he was too quick to scout that. And now just a right fist to the face of Matt Hardy, disrespecting Matt Hardy here, as now Ciampa going to lift up Matt Hardy in the fireman's carry and swing him around for a backpack stunner, drilling Matt Hardy right over the shoulder blade of Tommaso Ciampa, as Ciampa now scouting Matt Hardy from the corner with ill intent. Going to look for something here, as he runs up to Matt Hardy with that jumping knee strike, sending Matt Hardy into the air and flying back on impact. As now Matt Hardy with yet another jawbreaker, able to reverse Tommaso Ciampa and hit him with a huge right hand to the face of Tommaso Ciampa, leveling him for the time being. But now Ciampa back up to his feet, gonna look for the Project Ciampa here in the middle of the ring, connecting with it. The powerbomb lung blower, Project Ciampa onto the Woken Warrior, might be enough to keep Matt Hardy down, as Tommaso Ciampa gonna elect not to go for the cover here. He is not done with the brutality that he is committed to Matt Hardy. The assault shall continue, but Matt Hardy countering with a Northern Lights suplex out of the corner, a gut wrench suplex as now he lifts Tommaso Ciampa back up to his feet and drops him with a side effect to the side of Tommaso Ciampa, and now looking to follow it up with a cover here as Matt Hardy getting a long 2 count on the champion Tommaso Ciampa, looking to win that championship, hold it down on Smackdown Live, as now Matt Hardy scouting Tommaso Ciampa, looking to go for that twist of fate, but Tommaso Ciampa caught the leg on the way in and is going to drop him down for a bridging Fujiwara armbar, and he's wrenching back on the arm. He's torquing the arm of Matt Hardy too far. He's going to have to tap out here. And Matt Hardy trying to fight it, but he's not able to. Struggling in that submission, tapping out to the Psycho Killer, Tommaso Ciampa. And a brutal contest we saw here in the opener to Part 2, as Tommaso Ciampa retaining his TV championship here at SummerSlam. He's going to look to hold that championship longer than any other man has here in Universe Mode, but he's going to have to put up with Matt Riddle to do so, and potentially Keith Lee, as well, as we saw in the opener, as now Tommaso Ciampa going to go back to the outside. He's not finished with his business with Matt Hardy quite yet, as he sends Matt Hardy into the ring now. Tommaso Ciampa going to follow him inside, and he's just going to taunt him from the corner as the champion, scouting Matt Hardy with the championship in between the two. Tommaso now picking up the championship and cracking Matt Hardy over the head with the championship, cutting Matt Hardy open yet again in this match. And now a combination of chops followed by that jumping knee on the knee brace, as Tommaso Ciampa now gonna lift up Matt Hardy in that air raid crash and drop him right on the championship. The back of Matt Hardy's head connecting with that championship belt, as now Ciampa scouting Matt Hardy. Gonna look for yet another Project Ciampa here as he lifts him up in the power bomb long blower. Project Ciampa, as Tommaso Ciampa retaining his television championship here at SummerSlam.
Hey, she called me on her early, she yearning for it from California. I don't got no girlfriend, but got some workers in California. I be in Landover, but Bama's cannabis, California. And I be the prince of my city, bitch, with my Apollonia. Been a poet that's been performing for deaf ears. Raf Simmons, my sweatsuit hit me loud clear. Back to back in the matte blacks, when I fucking I call her back. But I'm stuck cause I think she left when her glass slippers. Cinderella, what's your real intentions? You wanna move to Calabasas, but it's too expensive. You wanna be with Easy, Travis, Migos, or the Jenners. You wanna fuck 100 rappers if it gets you nearer. Keep it on a hush hush, keep it on that DL. I be in your dreams, but they be in your DMs. And my only weakness, reefer or them females. Me and Gold Link, second home is that 3-1. Oh.
I haven't seen you since the summertime. True, I used to think about you all the time. Back when I was still trying to make you mine. These days you don't even know me. These days you don't even phone me. It's a love crime, it's a love crime.
The following contest is being contested under Extreme Rules and is for Raw's Triple Crown Championship. Ladies and gentlemen of the universe, the time has finally come for Pete Dunne to defend his Triple Crown Championship against Kenny Omega. As now the ring introductions, the cleaner Kenny Omega in one of the corners, the challenger for the Triple Crown Championship here tonight. As you see right now, intensity and aggression, the motto of both these men. As the Bruiserweight now, Pete Dunne in the corner, our Triple Crown champion, the only man to hold that belt 2 times, aside from Cassius Ohno on Smackdown Live, who we saw earlier tonight in the kickoff show. But Pete Dunne, a proud champion, defeating Seth Rollins in a 30-minute Iron Man match back at Battleground to recapture that championship after his best of 3 series with Seth Rollins. As now the champion relinquishing his belt, Kenny Omega getting a view of the championship that they're fighting for, and the ref suspending the Triple Crown Championship in the air. That is what these 2 men are fighting for here tonight. You know it means so much to both of these 2. And here we go. Ref gonna call for the bell here. And the storied history now going for a hot Hadouken! To start off the match is Kenny Omega, as he is all business here tonight, going into his match with the Bruiserweight, and he's gonna have to be if he wants to get his hands on that Triple Crown Championship here on Monday Night Raw. We saw both these men debut on Monday Night Raw the night after WrestleMania 32 this year, where Kenny Omega and Pete Dunne went one-on-one with each other. Now Kenny Omega calling Pete Dunne back up to his feet here, scouting him, going for that Kinshasa knee strike from the second rope. Kenny Omega leveling Pete Dunne now, going for a snapmare, taking him down, and a hesitation dropkick meeting him at the seated position, as Kenny Omega now pointing to the heavens, gonna look to rebound off the ropes here as Pete Dunne, facing the wrong way, is caught with a Busaiku knee. And now catching a knee to the gut as Kenny Omega going for the Kotaro Crusher and leveling Pete Dunne in the early stages of this matchup. Pete Dunne yet to get any offense in on Kenny Omega, but as I say that now, snapmaring Kenny down and then raking the eyes of Kenny Omega, but he's allowed to do that, as you heard in the ring introduction. This match has no rules. Shane McMahon knowing the implications here as a springboard dropkick leveling the Bruiserweight, as Kenny Omega now looking to scout Pete Dunne from the corner. We have to have a definitive winner here tonight. And now another Busaiku knee from the corner has Kenny Omega taking the advantage in this match once again, as he is going to look to gut wrench Pete Dunne up now. Deadlift gut wrench suplex sending Pete Dunne soaring across the ring. Now a kick to the face, ensuring that Pete Dunne will stay down. These 2 men having met on the first episode of Monday Night Raw. Kenny Omega with those face scrubbing strikes to Pete Dunne as he was sitting down now. Pete Dunne injuring Kenny Omega on that first encounter between the 2, having Kenny Omega out of action for quite a long time, as Seth Rollins losing to Pete Dunne at our last Battleground event, wanting redemption, but Shane McMahon, the general manager of Monday Night Raw, banning Pete Dunne the weeks leading up to this match from Monday Night Raw for his assault on an official following that match. And now just wearing down the arm of Kenny Omega is going to make it hard for Kenny Omega to do those powerhouse moves that he likes to utilize, like a Dr. Willy Bomb and all his electric chair-esque moves. Now just wearing down Kenny Omega on the ground, kicking him in the gut, and the disrespect from Pete Dunne, the Bruiserweight, not caring for his challenger here tonight, as a ravishing neckbreaker. Kenny Omega going to take him over with the Rude Awakening and drop him down. A huge Hangman's neckbreaker leveling Pete Dunne, as Kenny Omega now looking to go high risk up to the top rope and going for a huge diving double foot stomp onto Pete Dunne, and now scurrying over into the cover here, hooking the leg, but only getting a 2 count from Pete Dunne. As I said, Shane McMahon making this match anything goes. We need a definitive winner here tonight. As Kenny Omega bringing him back for a huge back elbow, just requesting that Pete Dunne to get back to his feet, as a Tope Atomico now taking down Pete Dunne, springboarding inside the ring. Now going to lift him up for a suplex opportunity here, but Pete Dunne able to shift his weight out of that and get behind Kenny Omega, but it's countered now by Omega as he snapmares Pete Dunne yet again and hitting him with a second hesitation dropkick here in this matchup. Of course, a lot of our biggest contests here in Universe Mode are conducted under Iron Man rules, but these 2 men looking to settle in the ring here with weapons Now Pete Dunne sending Kenny Omega to the outside. Everything is legal out here. There is no count out, no disqualification, as Pete Dunne turning Kenny Omega inside out with that inverted suplex. Sending Kenny Omega over, dropping him with a cutter following, and now sending Pete Dunne into the apron himself is Kenny Omega. Omega now has Pete Dunne up on the outside in that Oklahoma Slam. And going to look to lawn dart him right into that post, right into the corner post. Kenny Omega sent Pete Dunne head first. I believe that shot has busted open Pete Dunne. Now Kenny Omega looking to go under the ring. He is taking out a table from underneath that ring. Once again, anything goes. So these two are allowed to use any weapons at their disposal to put the other man away. As Kenny Omega now scouting Pete Dunne on the floor. Pete Dunne reversing that with a jawbreaker to Kenny Omega. Gonna swing him around with that arm drop. Excuse me, arm drag, I should say. Now kicking Kenny Omega in the gut. Gonna look for the X-Plex on the outside, and he connects with it. The X-Plex on the outside to Kenny Omega. Crashing on that padded matting on the outside, and now sending Omega back inside the ring. As the Cleaner in trouble here. Pete Dunne gaining the advantage when he was outside the ring there. Gonna scout Kenny Omega, but it's reversed in a fireman's carry opportunity from Kenny Omega, as Omega now with a huge knee to the arm as Pete Dunne was getting back to his feet. Now lifting him up in a fireman's carry, looking for that Ushigoroshi fireman's carry knee drop. As now picking Pete Dunne back up to his feet. They're going to look to send Pete Dunne to the outside of the ring and fire up the crowd for the rise of the Terminator here, as he is just scouting Pete Dunne from the outside. Going to look to go for the tope con hello. The rise of the Terminator to the outside from Kenny Omega, leveling the Bruiserweight on the outside. But Kenny Omega is going to have to get Pete Dunne back inside the ring if he wants to go for a cover after that tope con hello all the way to the outside. And as long as they are outside the ring, there's a table set up out there, there's steps, there's our announce table, which we saw Keith Lee put Jeff Cobb through earlier tonight. There's a lot of weapons on the outside, a lot of ways to get hurt, as Kenny Omega now going off the ropes with yet another Kotaro Crusher. The running leg drop Bulldog to Pete Dunne, as Kenny Omega now looking to go high risk with a Phoenix Splash from the top rope, rolling over into a cover. Shades of his friend Kota Ibushi now getting a long 2 count on Pete Dunne. But Pete Dunne able to get his shoulder up just barely after that Phoenix Splash all the way from the top rope, as now Kenny Omega gonna point the hand at Pete Dunne. And now driving him. Oh, he gets caught with a kick. He was looking for the spear through the ropes, as Pete Dunne now springboarding off the ropes with a huge knee strike. A springboard knee that we saw Tommaso Ciampa utilize in the last match, as Pete Dunne now meeting Kenny Omega with a kick to the gut. Now rebounding him off the ropes with a leg lariat. A second calf kick now. And going to duck underneath and catch him with a neck breaker from Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne with a huge fired up sequence there. As now the Bruiserweight going to look underneath the ring for a weapon that he could utilize in this match. And grabbing a kendo stick from under the ring. Now colliding with Kenny Omega's back and chest is Pete Dunne. Utilizing that bamboo stick now. Sending it to the outside to ensure that Kenny Omega can't utilize it against Pete. As now Pete Dunne going to look for the kick to the gut, usually followed up by that X-Plex. But Kenny Omega now going for the Dragon's Rush, Snapdragon Suplex, getting behind Pete Dunne. And now lifting him back up to his feet here is Kenny Omega, being sent over with a fireman's carry now by Pete Dunne. Rolling out of the way is Omega, but Pete Dunne had it scouted as he is looking for yet another X-Plex on the inside of the ring. And that is usually the prelude to the bitter end, but Kenny Omega quickly able to recover, and held with a suck it chant to Pete Dunne, showing him exactly what he thinks of him here. And now 2 back elbows to Kenny Omega, sending him dazed backwards, as now Pete Dunne going to turn him around and look for the pedigree as he goes for it on Kenny Omega. We've seen Pete Dunne utilize that in the 30-minute Iron Man match to garner a pinfall over Seth Rollins. Will it have the same magic here on Kenny Omega, as Pete Dunne now going to roll over into a cover here, and the ref is down for the count. Has a good visual on Kenny Omega's shoulders, but Kenny Omega just barely able to get that shoulder up at the last second and kick out of the pedigree. As now Pete Dunne going to go up to the second rope here and scout Kenny Omega from the high rent district. And now connecting with that missile drop kick from the second rope. As Kenny Omega now going for yet a third snapmare drop kick. Hesitation. As Pete Dunne unable to maintain the advantage here. As Kenny Omega now lifting him up in the fireman's carry. Going for yet another Ushigoroshi neck breaker. Now following it up with the chainsaw across the bloody face of Pete Dunne. Those chainsaw forearm scrapes. Now Pete Dunne dropping Kenny Omega down, looking for a quick cover here, and only getting a 1 count on the cleaner. Pete Dunne now got to be wondering what he's got to do. Yet to connect with a bitter end, but he has hit Kenny Omega with a lot of his offense here tonight. Kenny Omega can say the same for himself. Now catching that roundhouse kick from Pete Dunne, and yet another Dragon's Rush Snapdragon suplex from Kenny Omega as he looks to capitalize on this newfound momentum against Pete Dunne. Gonna bring Pete Dunne over to the ropes now, across the ring. Now Pete Dunne using those ropes to support his weight, able to counter Kenny Omega, and Kenny Omega catching a knee to the gut of Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne fighting back, a back and forth battle here as Pete Dunne with the strength to lift Kenny Omega up for the go to Europe military press uppercut. Now with a kick to the gut is Pete Dunne going to follow it up with yet another X-Plex onto Kenny Omega. After that go to Europe. And the sequence from Pete Dunne as he looks to take care of the cleaner once and for good here tonight. Looking to retain his Triple Crown Championship. As now Kenny Omega fighting back up to his feet. Being sent over his shoulders by Pete Dunne. Now strike to the face and turning him around is Pete Dunne. Gonna look for the bitter end here. The pump handle and dropping Kenny Omega with the bitter end. Pump handle flatliner. Just annihilating the cleaner. And if Pete Dunne can roll Kenny Omega over here, no rope breaks in this match. Anything goes. As now the cover here on close 2 count. The close call on the cleaner here. But Pete Dunne unable to put down his challenger quite yet off of a bitter end. We don't see many people kicking out of that move often. So the fact that Kenny Omega can do so speaks volumes. As now raking the eyes of Kenny Omega, the bloody face of both of these men, taking a lot of damage. As now Omega turning around Pete Dunne and being countered himself. As Pete Dunne gonna look for yet another X-Plex toss into the corner. As he just takes down Kenny Omega with yet another X-Plex. And this onslaught now looking to roll over into the cover, but it's taken Pete Dunne way too long to roll over into that cover. And Kenny Omega now able to kick out. But Pete Dunne now gonna look for that Tiger Driver at 97. Oh, and Kenny Omega signifying that this is over. Friends with Tyler Bate, of course, is Pete Dunne. And utilizing his maneuver here tonight, will it be enough to keep the cleaner down? But it's not. A 2 count for Kenny Omega as he is able to kick out of that maneuver. Now stomped on the face of Kenny Omega. And an arm drag reversal gets Kenny back up to his feet here. As Omega going to look to scout Pete Dunne from the corner here. Pete Dunne turned around. Now going to be taking advantage of from a retired position. Going for that ripcord knee strike. The V-trigger able to crumble Pete Dunne back down to the mat now. As Kenny Omega looking to go behind Pete Dunne, but being reversed now by the Bruiserweight. And now the Bruiserweight colliding with Kenny Omega. Neither man able to maintain the advantage here, but Omega lifting him up in that electric chair, going for the Kreutz Wrath German suplex from the heavens. As he sends Pete Dunne right on the back of his neck and shoulders, dropping him with the Kreutz Wrath. And that might be enough to keep the Bruiserweight down, but Kenny Omega gonna elect not to go for the cover here. Instead calling Pete Dunne back up to his feet now. And gonna go for a rewind Rana on the Bruiserweight. Keeping him down now. As Kenny Omega gonna look to follow it up with a third move to this sequence. Gonna look for the V-trigger from behind, but it's reversed by Pete Dunne yet again. The ripcord reversed. And now Kenny Omega now getting behind Pete Dunne. Neither man maintaining the advantage here as Pete Dunne firing back with those forearms to the back of Kenny Omega. Going to look for an electric chair position of his own and going to turn it into the Dr. Willie Bomb sit-out powerbomb from Pete Dunne. We thought Pete Dunne would utilize and a kick out at 1 from that Dr. Willie Bomb on Kenny Omega. We thought Pete Dunne was going to lift him up in that electric chair position and potentially go for that Kreutz Wrath. or the one-winged angel that Kenny Omega utilizes as his finishers, but turning into a Dr. Willy bomb is now. He's going to turn him around for yet another pump handle. Flatliner, the bitter end on Kenny Omega. And that is the second time that Pete Dunne has hit a bitter end in this match. Will it be enough to put away the cleaner? As he's going to look to slip into the cover here. Getting the fall on Kenny Omega. Now a count of 1. But a kick out at the count of 1 from Kenny Omega. 2 times in a row. Off of Pete Dunne's finishing move. Kenny Omega able to kick out at the count of 1. And now a rake to the eyes from Pete Dunne yet again. Frustrated by the inability to put away the challenger, the cleaner here tonight. As he sends Kenny Omega into the corner now. Lifting Omega up to the top rope. And looking to take advantage from the avalanche position. But Omega fighting out of it. Going for a diving crossbody off of the top rope. And leveling the Bruiserweight on the canvas now. Going behind for the Dragon's Rush. Snapdragon suplex. And going to look to lift up Pete Dunne here. As he is getting him in the front chancery. Going to bring Pete Dunne now over to the ropes across the ring. And position him on those ropes so he needs it for support. Now Omega going to power slam him all the way to the outside. And we forgot about the table being set up out there. As Pete Dunne goes crashing through the table at ringside. All the way from inside the ring. And Omega proud of his work here tonight. How could he not be after he sent Pete Dunne crashing to the outside. And looks to have the champion down for the count. As now Omega on the inside just continuing to taunt Pete Dunne. As Pete Dunne finally getting back up to his feet now. Gets back inside the ring gingerly. As now Omega going to look to lift up Pete Dunne for that running sit-out power bomb. The Dr. Willy bomb from Kenny Omega. And the onslaught now starting to begin. A deadlift German suplex in mind from Kenny Omega. And he connects with it all the way from the ground. Deadlifting Pete Dunne up. Now going to deadlift him for the Dr. Willy sit-out power bomb. And that's exactly what he does now. Pushing over Pete Dunne. And after all these moves, you got to think that Dunne might be down now. Unable to get back into this match. But that's exactly the opposite as Pete Dunne counters out of the corner. And going to look to take advantage now with his newfound momentum over Kenny Omega. Bringing him into the corner and colliding. And sending him right out with that backbreaker along the buckle. And just tossing Omega back into the middle of the ring. Omega catching Dunne's foot as he went in for... Now he's going to turn it into a V-trigger. V-trigger ripcord knee strike on Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne going for that X-plex, but it was quickly countered into Omega's own offense. As now Omega going to look for a second Dragon's Rush, but turning it into a straight jacket German suplex on the Bruiserweight. The action in this match is absolutely unreal. These two men fighting for that Triple Crown Championship, and now a roaring forearm strike looks to have leveled the Bruiserweight for the time being now. As Kenny Omega calling Dunne back up. Gonna look for that Kreutz Wrath, but being countered now by Dunne. The back elbows to the face of the Bruiserweight. And now gonna look for that one-winged angel. He has him up in the electric chair position. And now gonna look for it, but Pete Dunne able to reverse it into a Hurricane Rana and send Kenny Omega flying towards the ropes. And now a kick to the face has leveled Kenny Omega. The brutality and velocity off of that kick as Pete Dunne now gonna go for yet another X-plex onto Kenny Omega, but not gonna elect to go for the cover here as Dunne wanted to inflict more damage, but that was a mistake as a knee catches Dunne in the face, looking for that Busaiku knee yet again, but a German suplex folding up Kenny Omega, and the crowd applauding the efforts of both of these men here tonight. And how could you not? This match has been absolutely sensational since the start. As now Omega being called back up to his feet, turned around with that forearm smash as Dunne gonna look for a third bitter end, guillotining Kenny Omega along the ropes, and now folding him up for the cover, hooking the leg, and a count of two, Kenny Omega taking out of yet another bitter end here tonight. And Pete Dunne in absolute disbelief that the cleaner has had so much resiliency, now turning around. Pete Dunne sending Omega down with a fourth bitter end in this match, as now he goes for the cover on Omega now, getting another 2 count. The cleaner kicking out of 4 bitter ends in this matchup, and Pete Dunne having to wonder what it's going to take to put away Kenny Omega in this match. as these two men have gone on for 20 minutes, and now the joint manipulation being utilized by the Bruiserweight might be what it takes. As now he's scouting Kenny Omega from the second rope here. Pete Dunne is going to look for that missile dropkick yet again from the second rope, but Kenny Omega able to sidestep it miraculously after those combination of moves. Now going for that rolling hills. Now going to go up to the top rope is Kenny Omega. We saw this earlier, the Phoenix Splash coming up short. Pete Dunne able to evade the Phoenix Splash for the second time. And now after crashing and burning off of the top rope, Kenny Omega now being covered, getting a kick out at 1. It's Pete Dunne now going to lift up Kenny Omega in that fireman's carry position and just guillotine him right over the ropes. The throat being dropped right across those ropes. And now catching the leg as Pete Dunne was looking for yet another X-Plex, turning him around and catching him with a Dragon's Rush. Snapdragon suplex over into the corner is Kenny Omega. Now going to scout Pete Dunne when he gets up for the one-winged angel, and that's exactly what he's going for. He's got him up in the electric chair position, but now Pete Dunne able to shift his weight around and now again reverse it into yet another Hurricane Rana, as now he lifts Kenny Omega back up to his feet and meeting him with a lung blower, taking the breath out of Kenny Omega and now biting on the fingers of Omega. The joint manipulation taking down Kenny Omega now with an arm drag on Pete Dunne. And catching the foot when he came in of Kenny Omega, being turned around now with the Regal Stretch, a man that Pete Dunne has had a lot of issues with in the past, as he is looking to tap out the cleaner, and he gets the concession off the Regal Stretch, wrenching back on the neck and tying up the legs of the cleaner. Kenny Omega is what ensured the Bruiserweight victory here tonight. And what an unbelievable matchup we just witnessed between Pete Dunne and Kenny Omega. But Dunne somehow able to come out of it with his Triple Crown Championship still intact. But let's not forget Kenny Omega kicking out of 4 bitter ends and this pedigree that we see here in the replay. Not to mention all the other brutal offense that these two men had for each other in this match. As now Pete Dunne gonna celebrate, still your Triple Crown champion. Thank you for joining me for part 2 of our SummerSlam pay-per-view.